It's always good. Start the concert off by dropping my iPhone for the 500th time. Hi, friends. Yes, it is that kind of day. A dropping things day, a day where the window shuts and I inhale like and have a really unnecessarily extreme reaction. So it's a good thing that it is time to start singing. I'm going to start with a song in honor of Georgia, where a person tuned in from, James Shelton, on one of my concerts the other day. It was really fun seeing someone from the US outside of Massachusetts. I mean, I love seeing people from Massachusetts, don't get me wrong. Mom and Dad, I love you. But it's fun to see people show up who are, outside of my immediate inner circle. So this one's for you and for all of you. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out for me. Other eyes smile tenderly. But in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just this old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. So that is thanks for tuning in from Georgia the other day. It's fun to see, people tuning in from different places. I know not everybody tunes in right away when I'm playing, but so far we've gotten folks tuning in from Belgium, from Massachusetts, from Colorado, from Italy, from Washington State, from Georgia, from Iraq, an asylum seeker that Sarah and I had met at the refugee center, tuned in, which was really fun. Just showing that, this is such a global world, which, in times of a pandemic, remind us that we're all human and that there is care that needs to be taken when there's, dangerously contagious viruses traveling around this smaller and smaller world that we inhabit. But it's also a great time to just remember that we're all connected. And so I thought I'd play a couple songs just to kind of connect us. And this is one that I'm not sure I've ever quite managed to play it, but maybe give it a shot. It's really beautiful in Brussels. The sun is shining. There's this gentle, lovely breeze, which is why I'm not sitting outside because I'm using some sheet music. I really want it to blow away. So whatever time zone you're in, stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say night night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone as blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Dream a little dream of me. I just realized that sounds a little bit like, I don't know, a little narcissistic, like dream of me. You can dream about whatever you want, and I hope that they're beautiful, not stress-filled dreams. I've been having really weird dreams lately, like really weird ones. I had like a dream that I had like a little skin cancer on my arm that needed to be like removed, and they were just going to put like this tiny bit of stitches in, and then it was like my whole hand. I don't know. Okay, maybe I won't. I probably shouldn't share with you like the weird, creepy dreams that I have. Anyway, it's always like, so having weird dreams is not always the best, and certainly can leave you in this kind of weird space when you wake up. But it's also another way to then practice gratitude when you can wake up and realize, oh, I'm only in lockdown. It's not like a weird, creepy stitches up my arm. I'm just in quarantine. And then you can practice some gratitude, why not? And speaking of gratitude, I thought that I would play a few songs. I've played kind of a couple here and there from my time when I was a park ranger in Massachusetts, some of the songs that I wrote from the stories of factory workers. I was a park ranger at Lowell National Historical Park, and we had a working weave room to try to recreate the noise and the ambiance of what it would have been like for people working, making cloth on looms. And the park rangers would give tours through this museum, walking through that that weave room with visitors, and then the second floor was kind of more of the history, and then there were these little kind of like television set up where you could watch these oral histories, these interviews with the last generation of factory workers. And so we were like on a first name basis with them, and I transcribed several of the stories from their interviews, and I wrote songs. And I'd talk about the, the conditions, the working conditions, or whatever the theme of my particular tour was. And then I would talk about these individuals, and then I would play their song. And so this one is called "You Are the Lucky One." And it's from Paul Heureux, who's the son of French-Canadian immigrants who came to Lowell for work. And he shared a story about being simultaneously terrified and also really grateful to have a job in a factory. When he was first, teenager, going to work in the factory. This is called "You Are the Lucky One." The first time they opened those doors to the weave room, the noise is deafening. It scares you, feel like running out and going home. You never worked in a mill, it's very emotional. But you are the lucky one. You have a job. Yeah, you are the lucky one. You have a job. They bring you there, and they match you with a battery hand. He shows you what to do. The room's so long, you can't see the end of it. You keep telling yourself, I'll never be able to do this. But you are the lucky one. You have a job. Yeah, you are the lucky one. You have a job. You have a job. Yeah, you have a job. So I guess part of me, part of me has just been trying to figure out, okay, I started these concerts on the 18th of March, and kind of in a similar sort of spirit of a creative project my husband recommended that I try years ago when I was living in Lowell, where I would write a song a day for 30 days. I called it a month of music. And so this is another month of music under different circumstances. So I'm playing a concert a day for 30 days. So I think I have 10 more after today. And so what it's done, having this time, I still have work that I'm doing. I edit, people's articles and stuff like that from a distance. And I teach yoga, sort of. but mostly I've been like, well, what songs can I play? And it's been a fun sort of project to go back and look at all these different songs that I've written from different people's stories, over the last decade. I really started writing music about 10 years ago. And in particular, songs of, people with factory jobs, and just thinking about, people around the world who, who are in a state of real uncertainty in terms of work. Our whole economy is based on this idea of consumption, which largely started with the Industrial Revolution, which began in the US, largely in Lowell, Massachusetts, with these factories where people were making cotton and cotton cloth, and then kind of expanding into other textiles and then products from there. And now we're experiencing sort of this crash and burn when we're not able to keep that level of production going. And so it's like a big wake up call, I think. Just in terms of whether there may be different, better ways to keep our economy, moving, to create quote unquote, progress, for people to have work maybe that doesn't depend on consuming the earth's resources, and so on and so forth. So, as you may know, the Industrial Revolution, we've gone through like several, right? And so the whole production of textiles in Massachusetts ended in the 50s. Factories closed down. Some of them were opened up in the Southeast in the US, where production could be even less expensive and people could be paid even less. Great. But there were stories that that factory workers, in these histories shared. And then I remember talking to my supervisor, who talked a little bit about, kind of what it was like at that time. And so I wove together those different perspectives and experiences into this song that's called "The Ghosts of Lowell." It was in the year of 57. They closed the factory. $65 a week my pay. When I came to work, they closed the place. They closed the place. The day the factories closed in Lowell, the welfare line was long. They waited deep into the night. Not a single soul was turned away. No one turned away. No more the turn of the water wheel, nor the rhythm of the moon. The mill was home for 38 years. Now ghosts walk the factory floor. Ghosts walk the floor. I can feel the beat of the machines and the way they shake the floor. They say the ghosts are working still. I feel like one of them right now. I am a ghost now. Quiet now, the sound of the factories. Silent as they wait. Think now upon forgotten mills. There are stories yet to tell someday. Stories yet to tell someday. There's so many stories to tell. My wildest dreams, I would just find a way to just travel around and write songs from people's stories and sing them, record them, send them out all around the world so that we could all find ways to connect with one another and build solidarity and empathy and understanding. I think that music has this, the arts have a really powerful way of kind of opening people's hearts and minds and helping people make kind of personal connections to, to other people, but especially music. There's something really powerful about music, and clearly I'm biased because I have been drawn to music since I was a little kid. But there is just, to me, there's something about music where it's like this universal language. It doesn't matter if you even understand the words. You can hear it and you can sense what's being communicated. So that's my plume, my stylo, my form of communication is through music and singing the songs of people and their experiences. And during this lockdown time, it helps me keep perspective to sing these songs, especially to sing the songs of people who have had a difficult life, past, present. It helps me to remember to be grateful for all the privileges that I have. I mean, I'm safe, I'm eating well, I have hot water, electricity, I have beings, two and four-legged, who love and support me and lift me up in this uncertain time. I have you. I have Sarah tuned in with her family on the other side of Brussels, my parents in Massachusetts, and you may be tuning in now from another place in the world, and I'm so grateful to be able to connect with you in this, kind of mystical, magical way. Yeah. So I'm going to play another song, and this one's a little bit more upbeat. It's another factory song. It's called Four Pennies, and it's from the daughter of Italian immigrants. Her name was Narcissa Hodges, and she shared the story of how she was able to go and work in the factory, kind of like, this Paul Heureux saying, like, I mean, just being so grateful to get a factory job. It's like you had to, I think of a factory job as being one that, like, just doesn't seem like it would be something that I would really want to do. I mean, so difficult conditions, dangerous conditions, not very good pay. And yet she, in the song, communicates how grateful she was to have an in. It's like you had to know someone, it's like, it's a, so, and which maybe you've experienced trying to get a job, someone who puts in a good word. When I was first working as an environmental educator, just to get an internship, I needed someone who would vouch for me. It's like, even just to do the internship where you think like, oh, I'm volunteering to get experience to get a paid job, you still needed experience to volunteer. So anyway, so she shares the story about really being grateful, and also just how much she learned from having this hard life that was still a really good life, and it made it possible for so much for her and her family. Let's see. The only way you could get a job is if you knew someone working in the factory. There was a family around the corner. I used to live in Tewksbury, and I went to work in the Lowell factory. That very family, they took care of me. Oh, it was a hard life, but a good life. Working in the factory hasn't hurt me. Got put on weaving that first week, got in trouble for poor quality. 4 pennies was all they gave me. My mom and dad, they looked at me. Is this all they asked me? 4 pennies. And I told them that's all they gave me. Oh, it was a hard life, but a good life. Working in the factory hasn't hurt me. Factory job taught me to save. Can't survive on 4 pennies with so many in my family. My life, it hasn't hurt me none. Everyone in my family, we're all working in the factory. Oh, Oh, it was a hard life, but a good life, working in the factory. It was a hard life, but a good life, working in the factory. Working in the factory hasn't hurt me. So that was from Narcissa. I'm thinking about doing, on a totally different note, I've been, some of the concerts I've done on a theme, like love songs, songs of movement, freedom, songs with a kind of theme of birds, flight, and early on, I played the Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell, and I kept thinking that there was this artist who had also sung it and done this cackling laugh at the end, and I couldn't remember at the time, and then I realized, oh, it's Janis Joplin. Then I realized, she didn't even sing that song. The song that I was thinking of was a totally different car. Instead of a Big Yellow Taxi, it was Mercedes-Benz. So then that got me thinking yesterday, wouldn't it be fun to do a concert on the theme of songs about cars? Full 180 from singing about, people working in the factory. But, just to keep things light. Also, I don't want to make you feel sad. We want to laugh, we can cry, we can lift each other up. Anyway, so Mercedes-Benz, I was thinking, then I was thinking Little Red Corvette, Prince, Mustang Sally could be a fun one. Maybe you've got some car-themed songs. You could send me a little suggestion. I think that would be really fun. So it is unseasonably or maybe seasonably warm here in Belgium. 3 years ago, it got this warm, and I was like, sweet, no more winter. It's over forever, or until it comes back again the next year. And I packed up all of our sweaters and our coats, and I put them away. And then, spoiler alert, winter was not over. I had to get them all back out. But I'm so thankful that it's warm and sunny. And so I'm going to sing one more song from the Factories. And this is a song that I wrote from the story of Narcissa's sister, Celia Ting. So they're sisters, but obviously, they took their husband's last names, so different last names. Daughter of Italian immigrants. And she shared this story about a really hot day in the summer in the factory and what happened when she went to look for a fan that she could go stand by to cool off, and she could not find the fan. It's really flat. I don't know if it sounds really flat to you. I really need to change my strings, but because I've been doing these concerts every day, and strings take a little while to stretch out when you first change them. I haven't quite committed, so here we go. I'll never forget one day at One Lancet, working the loom. Around 10:30, it was getting warm, so I says to the girls, I'm going near the fan, I need to get cooled off. No fan, I'll look at the other end of the room. No fans for the girls, no fans. No fans at either end of the room. In the mill, in the summer, the girls are laughing, but me, I'm asking, what does he think of us? John the millwright goes by and I ask him, where's the fans? He says Mr. Larder took them to the farm to cool off the cows and bull. Fans at the farm, you've got to be kidding. Bring back those fans. Around 10:30, it was getting warm, but not for the cows and bulls. summer. The girls are laughing, but me, I'm asking, what does he think of us? What does he think of us? Oh, what does he think of us? What does he think of us? We have a fan. I'm really grateful. And every time it gets warm outside, my husband will say, "No fans." And actually, I mean, the joke, not that it wasn't a joke, the story. And clearly this was something that she really held on to and upset her, because she worked in the factory for decades. And when they interviewed her, just as, before the factories, or as the factories, or after the factories had closed, may have been after the factories closed, I think, because it was called The Workers Remember. So yes, it was after the factories closed. Like, this was one of the stories that she shared. Sharing our stories to me is just so interesting. And I think I have found that whatever the story a person shares, something that they're really holding on to seems to come out. It just wants to come out. But all of us park rangers were on this like first name basis with everyone. So everyone would be like, "Celia, no fans," and they would just like in the really thick Lowell accent that she used, and which added a little levity. And also it's just this really it was fun. Like, we felt this. It's like we were all family, together across generations. And I think that's a really great way to end our little concert day, just thinking about how, like, we are all a family. We share this planet, our home, with one another, with other beings, with other systems, with with a lot of kind of tenuousness to it. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind, and to be patient with ourselves and with one another, and to try to keep hearts and minds open, especially during this uncertain time. So thank you for helping me keep my heart open. And I'm just so grateful to be able to spend these afternoon time with you. I'm going to go out and get into the sunshine for a little while, get some vitamin D on this pale skin of mine, since I just spent the winter in Brussels. And I'll look forward to singing again tomorrow and seeing you soon. I hope that wherever you are, you're staying safe, and doing all of that great self-care for yourself, for your family, and from my heart and my home in Brussels to yours. Namaste.